Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Sayyid Ansar Gilani, founder and director for Ideas, One World, One Brain, Theory and a Forum. First, you need to listen what is the theory of One World, One Brain. The theory is presented here in only two dimensions to provide an understanding of how it can be introduced to the rest of the world and how it can be implemented in its true spirit. Its purpose is to end discrimination by first bringing people around the world onto a common platform through poverty alleviation achieved by sports and education. This process leads to the attainment of three fundamental rights: the right to quality education and independent economy, and the right to family formation for all citizens of the world. Once these rights are secured, people can be integrated on the basis of their individual hard work, outlook, honesty, and abilities. An economy that is generated primarily through relationships based on religion, culture, and tribal mindsets cannot consistently promote merit and ability. It ultimately creates a legacy of families and classes that become a source of conflicts, wars, crimes, and the underworld. The duty of religion and politics should be the same: character building, the creation of a society of honest people based on fair dealings, and the promotion of justice both officially and individually. The world needs a syllabus based on the latest methods of learning and earning for all its citizens. The objective is not merely to improve lives or to transform economies into fixed forms, but rather to integrate humanity through one world, one brain. Particularly, attention should be given to the middle and lower classes as well as to the countries and continents of Asia and Africa, enabling them to keep pace with the West and the ruling elites around the globe. This can be achieved by giving every citizen the opportunity to lead life according to his or her religion and culture, provided that such beliefs do not contain inherent class divisions or philosophies that cause injustice or exploitation within families, communities, or society at large. The way forward is to empower youth worldwide educationally, economically, and politically. Young people should be brought to the parliamentary level to help create a common syllabus and a new generation of professionals in the judiciary, bureaucracy, military, business, and politics. This process can gradually replace colonial, feudalistic, and excessively capitalistic structures with systems based on merit, opportunity, and justice, ultimately promoting equality throughout the world beyond gender differences. One World, One Brain, a theory of women empowerment through sports, education, and global integration. Now I am to go into detail and describe about what is the idea all about, and then there would be the follow-up show kind of activity that will just describe about what is one world one brain ideology for all the citizens of the world, to integrate them and to bring them at level of west as far as material you can say progress is concerned. Because side by side, spiritualism and materialism took start from, you can say, Adam and Eve times, and later the population increased and the prophets, you can say, influence become bit weak to reach to the all of the human beings. So slowly and gradually they made the gods of the prophets and started, you can say, worshipping them, because the teachings and preachings were not saved as character and as in script. So they just kept the, you can say, pictures or the faces of the prophets and their, you can say, family members, dears and dears ones, and then the followers, you can say, denied to follow the teachings of the prophets. Rather, they started creating art out of the prophets, you can say, teachings. Rather, they only started representing physiques of the and their facial and complexion and appearances have been, you can say, described through the followers or the painters or the artists, those who started making, you can say, gods or sculptures of the prophets, and through stones and through different, you can say, featuring. And this way philosophy, literature and art came into existence in the lineage of the prophets, you can say, physical appearances rather than their spiritual, you can say, inner beings, and their character and their features and characteristics that have played a very vital role in giving such attributes, featuring the societies through sympathy, tolerance, and you can say help out the humanities and sharing the assets in any form. As the assets in the present world are education and wealth, and in a larger sense, properties also, uh, the lands. So lands and the wealth and the education, experience, observation, these are the three areas which have always been the subject of the prophets to be shared to the humanity. Though wealth and, you can say, uh, lands were not the top priority of the prophets. The top priority of the prophets were to character building and to lessen the elements of greed and lust in the human beings, so that they should not only to be attached to the present world, rather they should also take care of their characters and do not, you can say, do injustice and exploitation and become source of oppression to the weaker people. So they should be God-fearing, taking care of the weaker human beings rather than to be oppressive and suppressive and restraining and constraining them and stopping them from growing and progressing into such way that could mar their character, or you can say block their grooming at the spirituality level. But as far as, you can say, material progress is concerned, there is no spirituality without, you can say, physicality, or without materiality, without material, you can say the belongings or material sources are the sources. Why? Because without education there is no, you can say, way out for wealth, getting of economy and independent economy are the ways of the food. So without education there is no food, no, you can say, economy, and without, you can say, earning, how you could be declared that you are an honest person or fair person or unfair person. But it all depending individually, one must be showing that they are in form of a character, God fearing and asset sharing and helping beings to the human beings, and whatever you can say the philosophies of human beings are individually or collectively need not to be opposed, but through good conduct and arguments. These two things must be uh, kept in mind while promoting and preaching your you can say point of view, or to listen someone else. So listening is necessarily adopted in all of the prophets, sophists, and the scholars and the leaders of the human beings ever since the times of immemorials. So from Adam to the present age, the humanity traveled through two of the dimensions. One is spirituality and other one is physicality, mean material sources, eatable items, how to be, you can say, achieved through. But in the present world, all things are attached with education and need to be attached. And it is now the moral duty and justification of the modern states to facilitate all human beings, all the citizens of their concerned country or the state through, you can say, education, jobs, and business opportunities, and extended to the rest of the all making of the institutions. But no one should be standing at the exclusive state of the life. Rather, all one should be at the inclusive state. Only you can say what a state could expect from its citizens as a social contract. There was a balanced state affair created through social contract between individual and state, that some of the, you can say, responsibilities are to be followed by the citizens, and some of the facilitations are to be provided by the state. It means some of the freedoms which are instinctive and you can say natural and to some extent wild and bestial nature or expressions or acts are to be you can say avoided, and then state is there to facilitate them. So the social contract which came between individual and the state, that was individuals are not to go through such and such you can say activities like killing of others, stealing of others, you can say belongings, or you can say robbing them of their property, or any kind of, you can say, in which human existence is in state of threat. So killings have been disallowed, and stealing and such acts which were sacred and universally acknowledged by the religion. And then later states adopted the footprints of the prophets and their teachings and preachings and the moral orders of the all of the humanity on which could stand. So killing was disallowed, and individual acts have been, you can say, stopped as to wage war against any other tribe. Rather, right to state has been given, but state sometimes tries to exploit and grab the resources of other states without taking them into confidence, and tries to grab their and deprive them of their belongings. Many of you can say human or environmental or circumstantial factors could be involved in it, but largely when state acts against the citizens, they, you can say, breach the very you can say foundations of human uh, beings in form of contract with the state. So state is a body of organs or institutions which is to be there just to facilitate the citizens. When citizens show their conduct, through their conduct and their, you can say, positive acts, that they are peaceful beings, they are not kind of killing beings and depriving other people of their, you can say, right to, you can say, earning, or right to education, and right to movement, and right to property, you can say, uh, purchasing and making investments, and whatever the religion or philosophy of life they want to follow, they could follow if there is no any inherent, you can say, teachings or preachings present in the religion in form of any exploitation or injustice done to any being, either the family member or to the society's members. So that was the very first and foremost necessity of the human beings. As to all, they were to come and term with the state in social contract. So social contract, you have understood in loud and clear way and meaning, that it was a contract between, you can say, state and individual came into being after 1648, the Westphalia's agreement, social contract, in which the world authorities decided, or the colonizers decided, to make all of the tribes turn into states and constitutional states, and human rights started uh, being defined, and taxes have been brought into, you can say, action. So the same, you can say, uh, practices are going with letter and spirit in the present world, but the increasing of the population in unchecked way is becoming the source of swallowing the resources of the world, and in this way it is becoming very difficult how to provide education, job, and you can say the ways of business and investments. So once again we need to make a social contract with human beings worldwide, and to expect them that where they, you can say, step down at the uh, liberty and freedoms, freedom based on natural ways or instinctive ways, or bestial acts were disallowed, or to some extent they stepped on to not follow such and such ways of life, where people around the world or people around them could be in state of trouble. There would be any physical, you can say, challenge, or physical existential threat, or kind of, you can say, activities that could damage the very fabrics of the society. So when people are free from physical and existential threats, and then they are now once again expected to keep their butts in check, so that the states could perform the duty in a proper way. If the citizens of the world are using, you can say, once again, uh, liberty, right of liberty or freedom in a free way, where they are giving unchecked paths. So where they have been expected that they are not to take steps to kill others and deprive of their belongings, along with now once again another, you can say, aspect is to be bear in mind, that they are to check their children, because it is also a bestial act, it is also a wild act where their emotions are wild. They become the source of more and more births, and this increasing of population is becoming biggest hurdle, where world authorities are unable to, you can say, deliver and facilitate the citizens of any part of the world. So, social contract where people step down to some liberties at the mercy of, or at the hands of the state. So, states are there with think tanks and policy makers and finest minds and positive beings, always there to facilitate people here in the public or in the nation. Uh, but they now are more to go at one more step to check their children at birth. So, if they have made social contract with the state uh, some centuries ago with the, you can say, the where some of the liberties have been resigned from the public. Once again, one more aspect is to be brought into social contract, that the world authorities are to step down at the wars mongering, war designs, and wars acts to be made out on the common class to get them killed through revolutions, blood-based revolutions, because their purpose is to cut down the size of the population and pace up or to meet up with the resources. If people will keep on increasing population without any check, then the world authorities decide to wage wars and create revolutions through visionary leaders. They are then brought forward either by capitalist ways or social ways, communism ways. But after all, the wars and revolutions are brought into action just to cut down the size of the population. So one more, you can say, liberty or freedom is to be, you can say, compromised by the population present here, so that the states there could facilitate them. So the social contract was between individual and state, was just that the some of the freedoms are to be curtailed, and against those freedoms the state's duty was to facilitate them. And if people are not there to, you can say, curtail their freedom, one more freedom is to check their children's, you can say, strength and population, that would not make them, you can say, able as to how to rise in the world. So better policy and better agreement is not to be compromised to each other, state and individual. Rather, a beautiful balance is necessary to be followed, and that is all, you can say, the you can say the way that is to be brought into action. So one more step needs to be taken. That is all, that where they were expected not to kill human beings, not to deprive of human beings from any their, you can say, right. States were also agreed upon on such and such, you can say, ways. In the same way, one more step is to be taken as social contract, that world authorities are to step down at waging of wars and revolutions where common classes are killed and they are, um, brought through genocidal acts, and their, elimination comes. So better the the people of the world breed less children so that the world authorities could decide that they are not to wage wars and the blood revolutions. As you know that how and why blood revolutions and wars are waged. There is no ideology that is sacred more than the resources and facilitation. So, no ideologies, no philosophies are as much sacred as human beings need to be, survived. But how human beings could be survived? How human beings could be given lives when uh, the high level of starvation and Mongol kind of people could come into existence that could make the things, impossible for world authorities to make the administrative affairs in the right form. So, if world administration is to be made easy to facilitate them, better to be agreed at least, three of the social contracts, features. First, they are not to kill human being, um, and the other one is they are not to deprive of their belongings. And in this, all of the uh, a long list of belongings could be included. And third one is that they are to check their, children, check their births according to their, uh, the affordability level and facilitation level. Because in Asia and Africa, parents are the rulers of the state, as rulers are not the rulers of the states. Rather, in Asia and Africa, parents are the rulers of the state. How? Because they produce the children beyond their, capacity level. So it is the father of the, family who is to decide that he is to give births to such numbers to which he have the capacity to feed well, educate well, and train well. Mean get them trained or skilled, but must have the resources to get them educated and skilled and moralized, so that one could enjoy the reaps of the fruits of the world. Now I am to go on one by one. One by one brain, a theory of human empowerment through sports, education, and global integration. Human empowerment mean as a whole, human beings need to be brought forward and integrated as they were left behind in the first phase of the, skilling and educating them. As first, class has been based, but middle and lower classes have been left behind at the level of agricultural, just to go with crops and wheats and grains, and then only live at the eatable level. No luxury, no, as much facilitation and integration. So, theory of women empowerment through sports. Sports mean it's a leadership. It brings, discipline, leadership, and cooperative spirit, along with how to be one minded and uh, one as family to play together, act together, and result together. So this way, this is all to done. So one world, one brain, a theory of human empowerment through sports, education, and global integration. Sports, as I have already told about, is the way of you can say disciplining people, turning them into team making, and needing their leader inside of them, and then cooperation, coordination, and acts like a family members, head of the family, and that's all goes. But sports role here in Asia and Africa mean to say, if the world authorities are interested to bring change in the Asian and African countries, to bring them out of extremism and terrorism, because they are blank-minded and wild-minded, and they become source of extreme thinking and acts without reflex, and complexes are there, and whatever the ideas come into their mind, they think that they are sacred ideas, and their individual steps could be the collective steps, and they are sacred steps, and they think that they have you can say positivity behind it. So no. So sports, through sports mean first generation at age of 19-20 could be brought into sports, and through sports they could be fed and you can say uh, facilitated and given somewhat amount to them to make their families, so that they could make at least families formation and come out of the such wild and chaotic and chaos and vacuum and you can say ununderstandable way of life. So sports, if the first generation is trained through sports, and then their first you can say generation need to be you can say registered in schools, so that educational uh, levels could be started as memory patterning and thinking patterning and behavioral patterning and social setting patterning, and then the team making, group making, community making, and then nation making, state making, constitution making, human rights definition making. It all comes just from first simple steps from African countries. Our start could be taken, the first start could be taken through sports. So first generation which is present at 1920, either the gender, they could be trained and skilled and least to be attached to all formats of you can say sports. The purpose is not to make them the players of international level at the primary level, rather to get them attached with such you can say activities which could least facilitate them at family making and licensing them with the right kind of economic activity. So first activity as economic activity would be the sports, and their first you can say generation at the children level would be registered with the schools, and through you can say schooling we could expect at generation making. So generation making process could be started from African countries. Asians are at the middle class, as West is at the first class, and Asia is at middle class, and Africa is at the third standing in the community of the nations and tribes as the generation making. So where there we are to bring the people out of chaos and unruly world, to transform them into a ruled world and world of discipline and rules and respect, and respecting of space, man to man and people to people, person to person, group to group, community to community, even philosophy of life to philosophy of life and culture. But they need to bring nearer to each other so that they could least be the people of their independent economy. So independent economy, after which they could be restrained and could be expected that they would hold their acts of bestial acts, and that would not be way out. Then onwards they could be then expected and could be transformed into a better personality, and their personality grooming could only come or take start when they are brought out of chaos, unruly and undirected and visionless, missionless, purposeless, and at a state of desert. They are to given the identity that they are human beings. They need dignity to be, you can say, joined, and state is there to facilitate them, and then slowly and gradually they could be the part of the mainstream of life. But first, from bringing them out of chaos, first sports is there to let them or bring them to join all formats of sports, and then you can say education, registration of their children at the age of 3 or 4, and that would be the first generation taken from African backgrounds, arts generation, not to be taught science in a very opening phase. Anyhow, if there are already well-off classes and people, as colonial structures in form of aristocratic and elite class are present, that's our, you can say, exemption of it. But people who have been present at middle and lower and you can say at the very starvation and deprivation state, they are to be brought into integration. They are to be integrated into a better state of the life, and that is all to get them registered with education. So when their generation process is taking start, first is sports, then is education, and in education it is the first arts subjects, so that they could be made human beings. So human patterning, human societies, history, social sciences means social sense need to be brought into them, and need to teach them, preach them, and train them, skill them, visualize them, their futures, how they are to be carved out through their generation. So first generation bringing out of the chaos is to register with sports, then to education, their next children, and the first arts class, and then after 20 years, after graduation and post-graduation, then there would be the start of the science. And after 20 years, the whole of the Africa would be, it would take 60 to 80 years in Africa and 60 years in Asia, and then rest, the West is, you can say, already equipped with modeled state of the world affairs. As you know, they are organized in educational and institutional point of view. So education is the fundamental, you can say, vehicle or fundamental way, or fundamental, you can say, vehicle or tool, instrument to bring the human out of the chaos and global integration. So First, we have to take start from African countries to bring the people out of chaos as the first generation, as sports generation, then education, and there is a, you can say, processes of first arts and then science, and then after 20 years the whole of the Africa will be at the better state of affairs. But without involving and bringing world authorities into action, there would be no, you can say, right kind of reaction from the African countries. So leaving countries, leaving people, leaving citizens of the world on their, you can say, individual spaces and accommodation and affordability, and adaptation and adjustabilities and adaptability, it would never end the journey of human race till doomsday. So now need to bring and ask the world authorities to come forward and make the ways leveled for all of us, all of the human beings. And global integration is only possible. So now I would describe the well set stage for. The 21st century has witnessed unprecedented advancements in science, technology, communication, transportation, and economic development. This is the very first, you can say, sentence, you can say, as commentary taking start on the given, you can say, theory of one world, one brain, how all of the human beings to be brought at the level of one brain, mean all people of the world to be given one form of education. The syllabus could be translated into their national languages, but sense would be of the world class. Either it is social science or the science, social sciences or the natural sciences, but sense would be of the world class level, and the latest one which is being taught and brought into the Western top leading elites classes, even in monarchies classes, that is to be now shared to the rest of the world, particularly Asian and African countries, as the Westerns came in 16th and 17th centuries into Asian and African, you can say, parts of the world, and they came to know that the treasures of the lands and brains are in enormous state present in Asian and African countries, but they have no brain to use them. So the Britishers and the Frenchers and Portugali and the Hollands and other ones came here in, you can say, different times, and they have been coming to know that these Asian and African continents and lands and their brains are there, but they only know, you can say, how to just lead the day-to-day lives, but they have no planning and vision and futuristic, you can say, planning and execution into the people, into their lives. So the colonizers, particularly of Western continents or countries or parts of the world, came here, and when they came to know that there are big reservoirs present in their lands and in their brains, but they have no sense how to use them, and they firstly decided to live here and occupy the lands and continue their lives, get married with the local people. But as the time came for Russian, uh, they were in bulk state, in majority, and physical threats were there. That's why the African and Asian countries they had wild emotions. That's why they have been chained and they have been put under, you can say, uh, kind of controls and conditioned them so that their wild emotions could be channelized into a better mindsets. But some of the people of the lands and brains could be utilized, as it is called aristocracies of the today's world. So the colonizer decided later better to transfer the treasures of lands and brains into the Western belt of life or European countries, so that they could make the West the laboratory of the human experimentation, investigation, and you can say innovation and inventions. So science gave inventions and philosophers gave innovations in literature, in you can say giving of laws and constructing a world of its own kind. So in this way, a better world started being visualized. So better world came through the people of the Western ones. So Westerns came with intentions first to inhabitate themselves or to live here forever with very short strength of the colonizers or the executive ones. But when they came to know that people are more wild ones and they might attack at them, that's why they decided not to live in Asia and Africa. Uh, Better to take their reservoirs, mean treasures of lands and brains. They made educational institutions there and got them educated and skilled and furnished. And then at further education, they have been sent out of the country so that they could get more better refined education and return to their institutions to run the affairs of the state. In this way, continuation of the state's affairs came into existence through them, and then they become easy to be communicated. uh, the world institutions started into formation, particularly in Asian African countries. But the big thing which is still hurdle since 16th, 17th centuries, that people are increasing the population in an enormous way, and it become very difficult for the world authorities, despite they have the wealth to be shared with the human beings, but they increase the population in such a wide way that it become better to keep the the concept of wars alive, to get them killed through waging wars, and uh, you can say bring revolutions, bloody revolutions into the you can say controlled and unchecked and unruly kind of people. So there, you can say they they need to understand how you can say uh, the increasing of population just at the way of emotion is being concealed. So if we are to save the world from, you can say, unruly and chaotic kind of world, better to bring the world authorities into confidence and preach the idea of one world, one brain, mean one syllabus based on latest mode of learning and earning. It has no concern with what moralities, religions, and cultures and tribal mindset in different ways are becoming the source of earning but have no sense behind. They are just body based and legacy based and whatever we could say, they are just entertainment shows. Uh, no spirit is present beyond gender differences and race and the case of discrimination. 21st century has witnessed unprecedented advancements in science, technology, communication, transportation, and economic development. Human beings have achieved remarkable progress in almost every field of life. I am talking about the present world. Despite these achievements, however, the world continues to struggle with poverty. It means uh, traveling through the billions of years from Adam to the present age. But the all credit goes to 21st century that it has reached in a very ripened state, in a very full bloom state, and it is at the prime stage of deliverance. But despite all the scientific and technological and to a larger extent transportive and communicative modes are present behind, but still it looks a long journey yet to be traveled to reach its excellence. What are the restraints and barriers present on the way to reach excellence? One of it is, as I have mentioned in former, you can say, uh, the talk or sentences at the development of my opening, you can say, prayer speech. That is, you can say, population. Without taking the responsibility of the human beings uh, to check their children's births, world authorities are unable, other than to, you can say, wage wars, then facilitate them. Despite these achievements, however, the world continues to struggle with poverty. Still, poverty is at the enormous level, particularly in Asian, African, and Latin Americans and some states of the world. Poverty is becoming one of the biggest, you can say, social evil, uh, which is considered to be the biggest enemy of education. So, poverty is the enemy of education, facilitation, and constitution and organized life. So, where there is poverty, there is no discipline and organized approach. So, chaos is there, vacuum is there, and unruly world is there. So, it becomes very difficult how to meet the world affairs. Inequality, surely, where there is no education, there is poverty and there is inequality. Why inequality? Because education is the only test stone through which we can build a person as a positive kind of being through from blank mind to memory patterning, then thinking patterning, then innovative making, and then there is a start of proper, you can say, uh, thinking and planning and execution and such things come in individual life. So, person to person, if changes are not brought through team making and group making, community making and facilitation beyond any culture, or you can say religion, there is no success. So if people will make teams basis on race and color, religion and culture, and then they will facilitate each other, it would be like a family to help each other, as blood relationship are there to protect each other, where there is no state, when there is no police and state and courts to give justice and you can say sport, then people turn into teams and group making and community making based on culture and religion. And in this way, culture and religion and tribal mindset become very dangerous for the human beings as a whole, because they protect themselves through their religion association, cultural association, and tribal mindsets based association. So associations are necessary to live together and show the unity. But when the unity is shown not through ability and you can say human traits, rather religious traits, cultural traits, and tribal mindsets, group based, then people start to shrink and you can say gather around very narrow vision, mean as father of the family, rather master of the house, father of the children, or parents of the children start protecting where there is a threat. So in the same way, when people will associate on basis of religion, culture and tribal mindset or family-like kind of approach, they will shrink themselves, and they will you can say become rigid, and they protect themselves based on ideology, not based on being human being. So if we are to bring people out of you can say out of philosophical or religious, cultural and tribal mindset based protection security systems, individual turn into groups, and they increase and preach the same ideology that we are from this religion, from this culture, from this you can say tribal mindset. So many of their people who have no their culture, concerned culture, and their tribal mindset, even they have no religion but turn their religion for sake of protection. But in this way, they join each other and leave the previous ones and join next ones. But it's all becoming racial and reflexive, and some kind of discrimination develops within. Why? Because they join each other for sake of food, not for sake of God or any faith, or which religion is the better religion. But it's become the money become the religion, and money become the main objective of the transfer of from one religion to other religion. So religion should not be, cultural should not be, tribal mindset should not be, or any particular race that they are rich and intelligent, they are producing scientists and economists and sociologists and whatnot and whatnot. But it's all is a kind of discrimination, and based on grouping and family making, and even you can say family formations just basis on blood relationships, or family members are involved in making marriages and setting their you can say systems of families. That's all creates troubles in the world. So people ignore their abilities, ignore their human traits, ignore their you can say divine love which is present in every being, but that is destroyed through when they join someone on basis of religion, culture, or you can say, or tribal mindset. So joining religion in with the spirit of its traits and its excellence in its preaching is entirely different than joining a religion or leaving a religion just on basis of face value or money as a magnet making or any you can say external reason which is bringing people from this religion to another religion. So in this way, without knowing the spirit of the religion and true teachings and preachings, that religion, heavenly religion, all have the same, you can say, spirit, that they on behalf of God facilitate other to be facilitated with material sources as education, jobs, and business activities, and environment to be set ready for all of the human beings to give their joinings and contribute to their families and society making as a whole of the all of the family. So if we are to make the world a world of equal sense, one brain, we need to make one syllabus for all the citizens of the world based on latest modes of learning and earning. Now is the high time to make the one syllabus. Why? Because people around the world, if they are not educated, but through media, they have come to know the sense of the world, sense of the life, that education is necessary, material development and progress is necessary, then spirituality comes, then religion comes, then to understand what is the spirit of religion and what is the concept of life after death and believe in God. If people are joining religion and leaving religion just for the sake of money making or to get education, uh, that is just not a you can say kind of spiritual act, rather it's a compromise act. They can leave the religion and they can join the religion, but based on spirit and its traits, not on the driving force behind it should be money making and face chasing, beauty chasing, or whatever could be greed and lust present behind. So one must be at the spiritual level to leave or join or understand or come out of the confusion. That's the present all systems are putting people into confusions. My confusions are entirely different than the confusions which are present in the human beings. Their confusions are based on their ideologies. My confusions are based on my ideologies, that people uh, came through two-dimensional modes of ways of life. One is you can say faith-based, and other one is food-based. So finance and faith have always been the driving forces behind the journey of human race or human beings since Adam and Eve age. So, so human beings are my, you can say, world. Their religion and their culture and their tribal mindsets, I have no concern, I have no business with them. It's their mentality, it's their domain, and I have no concern because it's their identity and it's their second identity. My first and foremost identity is being human beings, and being human beings, they have some rights and their rights must be given so that their dignity could be maintained. That's education, jobs, and um, business, you can say, activities or environment to be provided with beyond the class differences. So if we are to you can say change the world, better to integrate the world. So changing world through you can say pick and choose, pick and drop ways, uh, that would not be the right way to you can say change the world. So if we are to change the world, so better to integrate the world. Change the world mean if we pick any girl or boy or any child from a poor background and give it education and later make it the tool of their interests and vested interest, and make their, you can say, vehicle of success. No, it's just to keep the monarchy and racism and favoritism, nepotism, and you can say kind of patriotism will be carried through when you are changing the world through pick and drop ways. Which one child is to be picked and which one is to be dropped? Out of 5 children, anyone if it is picked, that is called picked up, and rest of the 4 or 5 are dropped. In this way, pick and drop way, we cannot change the world. So it is not to, you can say, follow the pattern of picking and drop. And the best way is to integrate. Deliberately, we are to, you can say, integrate the world through one syllabus based on latest mode of learning and earning. Faith matters entirely different than the matter of economy. So economy's role is to make people facilitate it so that they could least live independently at their religion, culture, and tribal mindsets. Tribal mindsets are no more present in the present world. It means religion and culture, beyond race and case of any discrimination. So if we are to, you can say, move forward through education, then there should be no inequality, discrimination. Discrimination means pick and drop. So some are given education, quality education, some are left behind to keep them as labor class at the fields and workers at the factories and industries. So in this way, discrimination remains in the present world. So unemployment is also their social division. People are divided into different groups, but main 3 factors are involved there, that religion, culture, and tribal mindsets are always present there. So political instability also comes there, that political forces and parties are colliding each other, and their speeches and their hate and revenge and labeling kind of speeches have no material to show in this very sensible and sensitive and refined and well-defined one. Even the common classes are highly aware of what our colonial masters and their legacies leaders are delivering and giving speeches to make us fool. Despite the present world and its generation are educated and well aware, but they are having no authorities to bring the colonial masters and even national masters of nation states out of their executive status and displacing them, placing themselves. that's why, after all, living within the system is expected that they help and shelter to the coffin of their dead bodies of colonial masters in form of national masters. But even then, dead bodies and coffins are ruling upon the living bodies of the present educated and well-refined and well-defined beings. Why? Because authorities lies with them, and personalities lies with educated classes. The way the youth pulse and eruption came of education throughout the world, particularly in Asian, African, middle and lower classes are also becoming aware of through media. And but now one world, one brain mean one brain, one syllabus needing at the entire need. So political instability mean political forces, political parties collide each other, but it's all drama, it's all play, it's all scripted. Why? Because there is no alternate route to displace these parties and leaders left behind by the colonial master. Anyhow, 200 years ago or 300 years ago, they were blessings for the nation states. But in the present world, they are curse on the humanity. They are no more liked by the common classes. But alternate route is not there. Present politics have been made very costly. Election campaign and manifestos and reaching from here to there. Better to make, you can say, digital world and internet rights, so that people and leaders of the educated classes sitting at home could address to the people, and in this way they could only come out of their homes and cast their votes. It doesn't mean making rallies and biggest, you can say, assemblage of the human beings or crowds to be there. These are all outdated kind of acts. Just make their YouTubes and promote their ideas, reach out to the rest of the human beings or their countrymen and citizens and near and dear ones and the respected ones, circles of influence to be created. But in this way, political instability or political institutions which are becoming weaker and weaker before establishments, armed establishments, religious groups, because they have more power on political institutions, because political institutions are outdated now in the present world, though they are the legacy of the colonial masters, but they are becoming weaker and weaker at the hands of army and religion. Why? Because the compressed emotions which help the colonial masters sitting outside of the countries as axis of evil in the West sitting, they are, you can say, drawing the strings and controlling the strings of the army and you can say religious mullahs. Why? Because these two forces, religious and military forces, are having compressed emotions, and those emotions, wild emotions, could be channelized to curb and press the common class which is educated and fearsome. Why? Because educated people are sensitized and refined one. They do not have eruptive actions and they do not have eruptive emotions and wild emotions to plunge into revolution. So in this way, if revolutionary steps are to be there, then leaders are also corrupted by the army and mullahs, you can say, clocks and garments and back-based. So military and mullah military alliance is mostly present in Asian and African countries where political institutions is becoming weak. So beyond mullah military alliance, youth needs to come forward and make their YouTube channels, make their manifestos and make their groups and teams, and sitting at home, control, you can say, convey their messages and create a influence and reach out to the rest of their loved ones and dear ones and near ones, and then they would be able to control the votes of the youth ones, and better to make standings in every ward of the political areas, and then they could stop the youth ones not to vote to the colonial masters. Better to sit at home. If some of the peoples are to be costing there, let them cost, but sit-ins, throw protests, throw complaints, and throw claims, and throw organized ways of the you can say that the pressures could be mounted upon the shoulders of the existing political setup. So political instability, political institutions are becoming weak because democracy is becoming weak in Asia and Africa. That's why dictatorship of mullah and military generals are mostly, you can say, better to be. And one of the leading reason is the unchecked population and increasing of the children. So where there is no birth control and quality minds are to be produced, there would be enormity of the you can say wild minds and blank minds, extremists and terrorists. Then mullah and military alliance would be there, either to preach them, either to you can say to control them. So that's why it become mullah military alliance mandatory for rest. Political instability, political institution is becoming weak. It's the only time now is the right time. Youth need to be brought forward beyond mullah military alliance. They need to make their liberal setups, and based on ability and such character, a character of fair dealings and honesty and a balanced approach towards each being, that they are to go for themselves, for their education and their facilitation. So corruption, crime and conflicts are becoming the part of the present world. So when the secret of the universe has been discovered, that it's the quality education, independent economy and right to family making, three of the fundamental rights, if given to every citizen, are to larger extent the idea has been you can say understood. The secret has been found out that it's the education, independent economy and right to family making. There should be no parental pressure or upon the modern youth, but if youth is not equipped with quality education, independent economy, and if they are not able to live alone and live single, then how they would be having or enjoying the right of mere family making. Only giving right to family making is not justified, and it would break even the traditional mindset. So if we are to transform the society, it cannot be transformed through only love affairs and getting of marriage or such and such families, either rich or poor or religious or cultural. These are all making fools of the human beings. So love marriage is just independent right to family making is not a ideal, you can say, situation. Ideal situation could only be first quality education, independent economy, and consistent economy, which is called sustainable development to a larger extent, then right to family making, and then their children will be enlightened citizens and citizens of the dignified stature. So rest all, if only getting married or doing this or that would not be a right way to approach to the human being. So despite scientific and technological, you can say, development in the present world, the world is facing still same challenges of poverty, inequality, discrimination, unemployment, social division, political instability, corruption, crime, and conflict. If these areas are present in, particularly in Asia and Africa, that's all you can say. Main reason is people of here in, you can say, Asia and Africa. Why? Because they are wide at emotions, and their only entertainment and recreation and outing is kind of breeding away children after children, just to give the crown of king to place upon the son. They breed on females after females. So if you can say females and males both are given 100% education, then there is no issue of you can say that son to be made king, or daughter to be made not you can say queen, or she has no right to rise and shine. When education and sense is equal, then there is no difference between the beings. So they are same in traits, and in demonstration there should be no barrier on any given situation. There should be no label of that such and such, you can say, teachings and preachings that license the male or female making king and queens, because prophets have always been present in kings' times, and society's pressures were also there. They haven't, you can say, shun or shut all the social values of then the times. They followed, but they advocated the idea that education for all, mean for men and women equally, is as obligatory, as necessary, as you can say dutifully, as there was no, you can say, in the era of prophets. For example, if prophet says that that there would be curse on such community where female will be ruling, but that was the time of early time. That was not to give shut call to the all of the social, you can say, pitfalls of that times, but advocated the idea that education for all. He and the prophet knows that a time will come when globalizations will reach out to the all citizens of the world, and education will becoming a tool to success, a source to integration. Then there would be no stoppation or stop or blocking and stopping from any external pressure, or the state role involvement would be there. If people are well aware and organized to protest and rise up against the state, you can say, oppression, big voices, you can say, curtail the less voices of the 20%, you can say, rulers' voices. So despite science and technology, sense as a sense is present here. Poverty, inequality, discrimination, unemployment, social division, power, political instability, corruption, crime, and conflicts are still here. If three rights are given according to their hard work and fair way of development and provision of, you can say, environment by the state sources, then there would be no poverty, inequality, discrimination, unemployment, social division, political instability, corruption, crime, and conflict. Why? Because people join each other on basis of their family link, religious link, cultural links, or tribal mindset based links. Where there these links are present, at one hand they are ways of security, but at other hand, at wider sense, to uh, base a broadcast approach, these you can say individual blessings turned into curse for the majority, or for a wider scope of the society. So when you make friendship and relationship to protect yourself based on your family links, religious links, cultural links, tribal mindset based links, or based on any kind of legacy which you think to be source of protection, but in its application and making wider interaction and understanding, these ways become hurdle. Why? Because you make contact to the next person on basis of the previous person and contact and recommendation and intercession source. Mean, for example, some family member introduce you to a person, then when you will join the next one, you will give the reference back one, that you came through this one, and we are, by philosophy of life, we are this and that. So the other person who is joining you leaves his own mind, become brandless, and joins you because there is a interest. Uh, Interest is right, money making. So people join each other not on basis of mere the spirit of culture or religion, but interest behind is selfish and self-interest. So self-interest and becoming selfish to some extent uh, is taken to be a positive thing, but it should be channelized through state sources and authority sources so that people become neutralized. People need to be neutralized through relationship making and contact making. Uh, to me, I would like to say, when people are making relationship and contacts to any stranger or any person, if there are some codes, there are some backlinks, some back sources, or some religious, cultural, tribal mindset, or ethnic, or any old references and sources present behind, that would bar the merit and meritocracy and biasness and you can say favoritism, nepotism, or to some extent patriotism is also involved. So whatever these kinds of elements are present in making of relationships and understanding to be developed, there would be somewhere in the long run, or in near future or in far future, there would be rising of the conflict, because at the opening stage, just at the making of friendship and relationship, people hide their identity and their motive. Why? Because they just need their interests to be protected. They need some money. But later, when they become, you can say, a powerful beings, like political person or some licensing authorities, they show their true colors. Why? Because they joined for some motive, some interest behind. So there should be no interest uh, behind from any, you can say, state, some political party, ruling party, or opposition party. Anyone is approaching on basis of political grounds, either the present government or the previous government, it would be biased, and it would create conflict uh, in future. So political divisioning, religious divisioning, tribal divisioning, and cultural divisioning, there should be no divisioning in making relationships. So when we introduce each other, we hide our motive, and our purpose is to least get any benefit from the person. So just for sake of meeting, sake of understanding, we need to come together. So one is not having with motive or some, you can say, interest to be involved there. No one is devoid of interest, or you can say pure at any motive. Motives are there, but there should be a right way to join and exit. It doesn't mean once you force to a person to join you, and when the person is capable to fly high in the life, they start curtailing and you can say suppressing and oppressing a person, and do not allow a person to move on, or they help to move on. Sometimes a person could move on, but the strings or the ways are controlled and ways are blocked, so that a person cannot move on. As if a person is in the interest of a family, its own family or some group, but if person is allowed to go at a wider level, at a wider scale of influence, it could be benefiting to a larger sections of the world, or the could a person capacitate to meet and deliver. So if some family, some country, some group keep on restraining and controlling a person, not allowing to go ahead and become independent minded and become the head of its own philosophy that would cover the whole of the humanity, rather it is brought into confinement, and constraints are applied on it. That is not a humanitarian act. That is, you can say, philanthropic, not philanthropic, rather misanthropic. Hate to humanity, not love to humanity. If you want to let people promote love to humanity and philanthropic approach, you need to let the people free to go on. Though live behind, but facilitate a person to travel on. It doesn't mean they both, you can say both ways are present. Both ways are present in a person to fly on. But if the facilitating authority, government, is becoming the state of the present time, is not a right way. State should be neutral, and its role should only be to facilitate people. So government could be, you can say, partial. So government, ruling government or political party, or all of the parties one mind, become a source of hurdle to stop people is not a right way. So it doesn't mean that people should be kept at straight. So allowing and disallowing should not be in the hands of the political parties in the governments. Rather, it should be at the merit and then state. So state is there for merit to promote. So governments, political parties have their interest and vested interest, and you can say some kinds of greed behind, lust behind. That's is not justified, because their role is narrow role, but state role is to look at the matters and to end poverty, inequality, discrimination, unemployment, social divisioning, political instability. State role is to end corruption. State role is to end in the institution. If government brings its parties into power, and you can say appoints executives in all of the leading key posts and institutions, and start corruption and manipulation and misappropriations of the fundings. That's all crimes and conflict. So if government become criminal and conflicting, that should not be approached and made justified. So there should be no formula of this and that we are this or that, and we will do this and that. No, billions of people remain excluded from meaningful participation in economic and political systems. Large sections of humanity, particularly in developing countries, continue to face barriers that prevent them from realizing their full potential. All human beings are having the ability of God, you can say, given. So God transform its full ability and potential into the totality of the all human beings. From Adam to the last man of the world, all human beings, you can say, potentials and abilities are coming from God's ability to share as knowledge and, you can say, understanding. So God's understanding and knowledge is coming as ability to the all the human beings. So large sections of humanity, particularly in developing countries, continue to face barriers that prevent them from realizing their full potential. If God's ability in form of knowledge and, you can say, understanding is coming into the world, why some barriers are present on the way to stop them from rising and shining in their given time? So I don't agree with the Hindu philosophy that being comes in many, you can say, times into the world after first birth and then dies, and then a cycle of births goes there until the soul is cleansed and gets salvation. It's a fake idea. Any human being comes in the world comes in one time, so they need to be facilitated fully through state sources, that there should be no making foolery of human beings, that they come 7 to 8 times or 9 times birth circle and then they get their uh, salvation. No, it's a monarchical kind of philosophy, making people fool that if you are poor, then you will be given second birth, third birth, and fourth birth, and then there would come a time when you will go from world becoming rich. So it's all foolery. It's all duty-free kind of thinking, that the rulers should not pay their head to duties, that one time human being comes in the world and one time state should be there to facilitate a person, so that right from beginning age could get better education and could get the right to rise and shine, and could go to the full potential, realizing its full potential, so that one cannot, you can say, have any, you can say, failure in the present world, leaving the world stage. There should be no repentance or any kind of sense of failure or sense of deprivation or sense of loss, that once a person came, sources have not been given, that's why it left the stage of the world being penniless. These realities raise an important question: why has human progress not translated into equal opportunities for all people? So this is the central idea, very, you can say, crux of the all my philosophy, one world, one brain, that how you can say people get birth in any part of the world, but states should be equally present there with open-handed and open arms to welcome them and facilitate them and make them able to rise and shine to realize their full potential. So these realities raise an important question: why has human progress not translated into equal opportunities for all people? So my this philosophy, one world, one brain, mean one syllabus for all the citizens of the world. Least the material aspect should be now deliberately sent to the rest of the world. As far as religions and cultural and tribal mindset is concerned, the journey is not yet completed because it is abstract and conflicted and complex and complexion based. Why? Because education and economy is not behind there. Until equal opportunities are not given, religion, as Islam, you can say, preaches equality, but even Islam is helpless if education and facilitation is not based on independent sources. So Islam is not only an abstract reality, just it says it's a perfect code of life. It is perfect code of life, but it's if wealth and resources are controlled through Jews and Christians and other world authorities, then how Islam could realize its full potential? So that's why I preached that if the world want to promote its strength, then better world authorities and civil societies, human rights activists, and intellectuals to start a match in between world authorities as five veto powers and authorities of civil societies, human rights activists, and intellectuals to come forward and start a talk on the one world, one brain mean of syllabus for all the citizens of the world. You might have heard global literature, universal literature, but you haven't heard universal syllabus. Mean now is the time to least make the people materially develop so that they could understand the religious what are the religious garments and what are the religious teachings and preachings. The theory of one world, one brain attempts to answer this question by proposing a comprehensive framework for global human empowerment. Global human empowerment, comprehensive, mean very short and brief and to the point, that relationships which are, you can say, based on religion, culture, tribal mindset, and family ways become hurdle in a broader sense to promote human ability to transform into human ruling, human potential, and human acts of bravery. So theory of one world, one brain attempts to answer this question by proposing a comprehensive framework as to how to develop a structure of such syllabus that latest scientific and technological and sociological researches and theories which have come to the world so far, the best ideas like education, sports, you can say democracy, peace, tourism, music, and you can say the society free from domestic violence worldwide is are the, you can say, best ideas ever the universe has or the human beings have you can say invented or innovatively brought into to the human world. So, comprehensive framework for global human empowerment. Global human empowerment. All humans are equal potential, not by background. By potential, they are equal if they are given positive environment, leaving behind their background, where they come from. It is counted. Some come from rich background, some come from poor background, middle, lower, and very humble background. That's is the you can say identity. So human identity is their background. It should be taken out. It argues that the fundamental challenge facing humanity is not merely the lack of resources, technology, or knowledge. You understand this point? It is being said that fundamental challenge facing humanity is not merely the lack of resources. Resources are there. Technology and knowledge is in its full form to convert humanity into a quality education, jobs, and business lobbying. Rather, rather it is the unequal distribution of opportunities and the persistence of systems that prioritize inherited privilege, class interest, tribal loyalties, religious divisions, and cultural exclusivity over merit, ability, honesty, and hard work. So the idea which I am promoting is based on rationality and keeping the both ways apart and united. That religious duty is to cleanse the soul and lessen the greed and lust in the human beings, so that they should not run after the grabbing and storing of the resources and you can say authorities, and creating legacy to you can say leave behind all for their sons and daughters and their families and their interest-based people. So all kinds of attractions need to be brought into destruction at the hands of the God Almighty Allah, uh, to live human beings equally and realize their full potential. So here it is the unequal distribution of opportunities and the persistence of system. Focus this word, persistence of systems that prioritize inherited privilege, mean Jews and Christians, and to some extent such you can say economic driven authorities in the world are giving the resources. Those are related aristocratic and elite classes. They do not share their resources and reservoir to the middle or lower classes. One of the barrier and reason might be the poor classes, middle and lower classes of Asia and Africa, because they are increasing the, you can say, population in unchecked way. One of weakness could be present in us, that we are not controlling our children and not giving them education according to our affordability level. Our states are being managed through IMF and World Bank, but to a larger extent, you can say the Jews and the Christians, white race is becoming the reason of all, you can say, unequal distribution of opportunities. Those who become uh, the people of, or the tool of their interests, business interests and political and economic and legal and armed and tribal based, you can say, extensions, they become for their purposes and their objectives to be achieved, and then they leave people just offer the prayers of your religion. That is not justice. So one must have the resources of the present world uh, in the same way. So it is the unequal distribution of opportunities and the persistence of systems mean the Christians and the Jews and white race colonial masters came into Asia and Africa. They created some classes and institutions and based constitutions, based states, nation states that are all the cause of trouble. Mere nation states making and constitution making and human rights, education and jobs is not sufficient. Rather, facilitating human beings beyond any gender differences and any personal linkages and interests to be involved there, rather need to be thought for the whole of the humanity, so that whole of the humanity, until is not facilitated, the world is not safe. Until all the human beings are not safe, the world is not safe. Until even a single person is not saved and protected from its all of insecurities and given assurances, world is not saved. So we are saying that someone's and some people are terrorists and extremists. So main reason though lies with the Asian and African, that they are giving birth after birth, but to a larger extent there could be one reason that white race is not sharing its ability, environment and wealth, so that it could be distributed to the rest of the world. So unequal distribution of opportunities mean opportunities are provided but based on pick and drop. Who is to be picked and who is to be dropped? A picked person is made an extension of their designs until someone is not becoming the extensions of their designs and their objectives to be achieved through. They are not there to facilitate others. That's why, being single soul, I started creating the idea of one world, one brain. Leave people to follow only the abstract and aesthetic realities of the world based on religion and culture. Rather, better to demand one syllabus, one, you can say, education system, unified education system to the all citizens of the world. So opportunities are provided with persistency, with persistence, but priority is there that it should be given to their inherited privilege, mean white race. And if there is no white race, even they are black or brown in Asia and Africa, but that should be elite class, that should be supreme class, that should be planted class, mean business class, political class, judiciary, military and political class, mean bureaucracy also, even Piri Muridi and Mullayat, sainthood and fundamentalist religions fundamentalism is also the product of Jews and Christians creations in their times when they were over here. Though it could be their interest to make people peaceful through engaging them into positive activities, but keeping these institutions with only confined classes, privileged classes, that is not justice. At that time, we could say, at the formation of institution, it was to be necessary, might be morally justified at that then the times, but uh, at the present time, not licensing the modern age youth guys and guys beyond gender preferences to be facilitated with first priority with education in jobs and business lobbying. Coming to politics and power, all is based on choices and picking on merit ground, not picking on favorism and bringing someone based on attraction of wealth or body, or to a larger extent there are some negativities involved behind. So that prioritize inherited privilege, class interests, mean white class, white race, uh, and planted classes, mean the ruling elites, uh, that become trouble. Religious divisions, class interests, tribal loyalties. So tribes turn into nation states, and nation states are now turning into local masters in form of establishments just to protect the interest of the foreign authorities. So foreign authorities, if working for global justice, then it's okay. Then they could be channelized. They could be and they made able and ways to be labeled, but their intentions should be shown through actions, not their actions are with intentions that pick and drop kind of activities are being carried on there. So religious divisions and cultural exclusivity over merit. So cultural, religious and such uh, ways of world should not be made on to be brought forward. So religious divisions and cultural exclusivity over merit, ability, honesty, and hard work mean privilege, inherited privilege, class interest, tribal loyalties, religious divisions, and cultural beings should not be given exclusive right to rise and shine over the system of merit, ability, honesty, and hard work. So people who are on merit or could be, you can say, brought forward through merit and human ability to be valued, rather race and class to be valued, honesty rather to be just dishonesty. If a person is near to white race, even it is dishonest, it is welcomed because it is picked case and not the drop case. And if a person is honest but is positive on merit but is not taken up, it is dropped. Why? Because it does not, you can say,